I am absolutely very pumped to be. I am absolutely very pumped to be. I am absolutely very pumped to be. Welcome, friends. James Corbett here, CorbettReport.com. Today is the 24th of January, 2015, here in the wintry cold climes of Western Japan. And for those of you who are watching the video version of this interview, a little extra Easter egg, I'm wearing my NSA parody sweatshirts that we talked about back in interview 732 with Dan McCall of LibertyManiacs.com. For those of you who can read it, it says the NSA, the only part of government that actually listens. Ha ha ha. But we're not in interview 732 right now. We're in interview 995, and we're not talking to Dan McCall. We are talking to Jeff Berwick, aka the Dollar Vigilante at dollarvigilante.com and also Anarchapulco.com, I believe. Let's bring him into the conversation. Jeff, thank you so much for coming on the program.
Thank you, James, and be careful wearing that shirt if you're going to be passing through the U.S.
Good point. I actually do think about such things as I travel around, because I had a horrible experience in Vancouver once, and I talked about it on the program once. But anyway,
I had a friend who was going through the TSA, and he had a bunch of sort of TSA shirts like that, NSA shirt, and it was in his luggage. And when he arrived in his destination, all the T-shirts are gone, and there was a note in his luggage saying, "We don't like your shirt."
Nice. Yeah. Well, at least it was only shirts that were stolen. It's usually expensive jewelry and stuff that gets stolen. But anyway, well, let's bring you into the conversation properly, because I'm sure most of my listeners will be familiar with you. Some of them might not be. I hope they will be, because of course you had me on your excellent must-listen podcast, Anarchast, back a year or two ago, and that's both on the archives at CorbettReport.com and Anarchast.com. But let's talk to people about Jeff Berwick and who he is. And I finally get to ask you the question that you ask everyone else. How did you become an anarchist? In the archives at CorbettReport.com and Anarchast.com. But let's talk to people about Jeff Berwick and who he is. And I finally get to ask you, the Anarchast.com. But let's talk to people about Jeff Berwick and who he is. And I finally get to ask you, the Anarchast.com. But let's talk to people about Jeff Berwick and who he is. And I finally get to a year or two ago, and that's both on the archives at CorbettReport.com and Anarchast.com. But let's talk to people about Jeff Berwick and who he is. And I finally get to ask you the question that you ask everyone else. How did you become an anarchist?
Yes, turning the tables on me here. Well, I think I always was an anarchist. I think, and for people who don't know what anarchy is, it just means an without and archy with ruler, which means you don't want
into the status quo, and it took me decades to really work my way out of that. So my hats off to you for understanding that from an early age. But let's talk about Dollar Vigilante and the work that you do there. What do people find when they go to dollarvigilante.com?
Well, the tagline is surviving and prospering during and after the dollar collapse, and started in about 2009, and it's been quite amazing to see the changes just in the last 5 years. Like Lukrodowski of We Are Change, Dan Dix of Press for Truth, talking about independent media, and I know you were just on TED Talks talking about the pen is mightier than the sword, and I think that's 100% correct, and the internet is much mightier than the pen, and so there's a lot going on, and most people don't even really know it, and many of the people are going to be coming here to Acapulco just to congregate and talk about all of these issues, and also be on the beach in Acapulco in the end of February.
That is at least one reason to go there for sure. And you have been good enough to invite me to come to speak there as well, which I'm very grateful for. After a string of invitations to wintry northern European countries in the coldest month of the year, I finally get an invitation to speak at a very nice, warm, beautiful, tropical place. So I'm very much looking forward to that. I've never been to Mexico, so I don't know what to expect. I'm sure it'll be a great time, and I'm looking forward to seeing so many of these different people. Give people an idea of how long this event is, how many days is it, what kinds of events are going to be going on in conjunction with it.
Yeah, you've never been to Mexico, so it's going to be really interesting for you. A lot of people say it's a failed state, and I always say, well, you say that like it's a bad thing.
He goes, no problem. 8 days, no problem. You guys, I know who you are, you're good friends, we'll do whatever you want, 8 days. So I told Magdi and another client to fly out.
Yeah.
And the first day everything went fine. The second day he texted me on WhatsApp and he said, "So sorry, it's going to be 6 weeks. I didn't realize how much paperwork was involved." And it's like, this has just been killing me, man. So like, I just want to tell you, I'm not like scamming you at all. Like, I've never scammed anyone. It's been so hard on me.
Yeah.
And I know we've got a lot of problems. I know this caused you problems. This caused me problems. I said to this guy, I said, "You don't even know what you just did."
Yeah.
You caused
Ese hombre estaba adentro del baño. No me siguió al baño. Estaba adentro del baño.
Sí.
Cerró la puerta y me penetró. Me hizo el vestido, me hizo al lado el calzón y me penetró. Eso fue lo que hizo. Llegaron mis amigas a tiempo y me sacaron. Yo quedé en un shock hasta que llegara mi hotel.
¿A qué hora te metieron el pan?
A la 1 de la mañana.
Sola.
Solo.
¿Usted habitué del pan de eso?
Mi esposo y yo vamos cada vez. Yo nunca me he separado de mi esposo hasta ese día. Jamás nos separamos. Ni me he citado, a menos que yo me cite con el hombre, estando mi esposo conmigo. Me cito los tres, supongo, pero no. No conozco de nada de ese tipo.
Nunca lo vi.
Nunca lo había visto, jamás. Es la primera vez y espero que sea la última que yo pueda ver a ese hombre, pero jamás lo había visto.
¿Usted gritó?
No, no grité.
¿Por qué?
No sé. Estaba en shock, estaba pánico, estaba helada. Yo no hice nada, solo me quedé sorprendida. Fue en 2 minutos, fue en cuestión de segundos, pasó todo demasiado rápido.
Él se desnudó.
No, jamás se desnudó.
Eso solamente me lo
Se bajó la cremallera, eso es lo que hizo, jamás se desnudó, él jamás me desnudó, él solo alzó mi vestido y hizo el brazo. Es lo que hizo.
Usted sabe que el tío juez estuvo ahí haciendo una función ocular y dice que la puerta no tiene cerradura, que no se puede trabar.
Porque han quitado la cerradura, supongo, porque hay mucho interés, porque no se le mete el club ñanta. Sí, por eso ahorita hay cerradura, porque no fueron antes.
¿Cómo vaya no
cerradura? Por Dios. El baño, para poder cerrarse, se alza la puerta y se pone la cerradura. Porque ese tipo lo hizo con mucha facilidad. Y yo no sé ahora por qué no hizo. Yo no sé qué intereses haya, pero yo voy a la pelea hasta el final y que se sepa mi verdad. Porque ahorita me siento como que todos los argentinos están en contra de mí, porque a mí el gobierno no me ha apoyado con un psicólogo, a mí no me ha apoyado con nada, a mí no se han contactado conmigo, ni siquiera la prensa se ha contactado para ver mi verdad, quién soy yo, dar la cara, y aquí estoy, esta soy yo, soy Pena Moreno.
Bueno, aquí estamos nosotros.
Sí, por eso, yo
quería publicarlo, no podía
tengo un inmenso coraje ahora, que no tiene usted idea, porque usted no está en otro país, donde todo el mundo está en contra de usted, y donde yo soy mujer, y aquí es un lugar de tanto macho, y que no se me está otorgando a mí la protección que realmente una mujer turista necesita. Es muy doloroso, pero que tienen que hablar y no quedarse calladas de nada. Eso.
Creo que no será mucho pensar que el pueblo está en contra suya.
No, es contra mí, acá hay intereses, que Ñanga no se cierre. Yo hice la denuncia porque no quería que eso quedara así. Yo no sabía tenía antecedentes aquí de abuso sexual y por violaciones. Yo solo exploté con él porque le tengo mucha confianza, porque él es mi isla, me apoyo. Y cuando yo llegué allá, es la persona que tengo más cerca, es mi México, mi persona. Entonces, yo le dije la verdad de lo que me ha pasado, todo lo que ha pasado, solté ya, todo fue. Si usted consulta a un psicólogo, puede decirles, que yo no he tenido un psicólogo en este momento, pero puede decirle cómo funciona. Tengo hijos que criar, tengo trabajo que asistir y tengo que continuar con la vida. con él va a ser la misma porque hace unos días yo era una persona feliz, una persona con ganas de vivir, ayudo gente, ayudamos gente y no sé, no he hecho querer jugar a querer prosperar o una vida feliz para mis hijos y me encuentro con algo así.
Perdón, el hombre estaba drogado, estaba borracho.
De borracho y drogado yo no puedo saber nada, solamente los peritos, la gente. Yo no vi 2 minutos máximo, no más en mi vida, nunca lo he visto, no sabía ni su nombre hasta que Valkyria dijo, se llama Fernando, y le dicen así, no sé, es lo que, hasta yo no sabía ni su nombre, nunca la he visto, nunca. Todas las veces he ido con él, era la primera noche que he ido yo, solita. No quiero conmover no quiero conmover a nadie con mi lágrimas, soy una mujer muy fuerte. He pasado por cosas horribles, como mi parto ha sido feo, he tenido muchas cosas que superar en mi vida. Claro que aquí me atacaron mi sexualidad, mi integridad. Yo amo a mi esposo, nos casamos con la iglesia, nos casamos bonito en Acapulco, y alguien me ataca, yo no puedo ser la persona que era antes. Yo no puedo dejar que mi esposo me toque mal, todo me asusta. No sé qué decir porque es un hombre bueno, está siempre conmigo, está aquí apoyándome, está de pie y yo también tengo que estar de pie por mi familia, por mis hijos. Mi madre está súper preocupada en México por todo lo que está pasando, es impotencia de que ellos no pueden abrazarme, yo tampoco, y no quiero conmover con alguien ni nada, solo quiero que se sepa la verdad, que ustedes me hagan el favor de decir lo que yo he dicho aquí y que yo soy supuestamente María Eugenia, que soy quena y que no soy una prostituta ni nada, que soy una, pueden corroborar en Acapulco qué persona soy, tengo millones de amigos y todos saben la persona que yo soy, y la honestidad y que tanta gente que yo ayudo.
On his Gira. Jeff was drunk the whole time. He's got in my opinion, a pretty bad problem with alcohol and drugs and prostitutes and lots of things that I witnessed firsthand for far too long. But and to each his own. Live your life how you want to live your life, but things like that should not negatively impact other people and especially in business. Like Mr. Berwick's addictions have affected me personally and this project and our clients. Anyhow, we came down in August 2012. Mr. Berwick got thoroughly wasted. Didn't even come see the land. He didn't even view our land. In August, I went with John Coben and Hermana Zagira. Jeff just flew home. He was in bed with a prostitute. I knocked on his door in the morning. We were supposed to go. John Coben came to pick me up. Jeff and I were sharing a 2-bedroom apartment hotel. I knock on his door to, wake him up so he can take a shower and get ready to go. And he had a prostitute in his room. And he said, he didn't want to go. And he ended up, hanging out with her. And then he flew home to his wife a few hours later that day. And I stayed in Chile for, I don't know, I think I stayed for 2 more days, 3 more days. I